Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. So Cameron Vuong, is that how you pronounce his name? Vuong? He becomes the WBO European Champion, whatever that is. I mean, it gets you a ranking, but the real European belt, of course, is the EBU belt. This was fought over 10 rounds, and Cameron didn't need 10 to stop Jordan Flynn, also undefeated. Both these guys were undefeated. He stopped him in the 7th round. And this was a bit of a grudge match. They'd had a bit of pushing and pulling in the build-up. I think Vuong was the favourite. He came in with 7 wins, no draws, no defeats. Flynn had 11 wins and 1 draw. He had a draw. That was with Kane Baker a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, roughly. But Vuong hadn't looked great against Gavin Gwynn in his last fight. He won a 10-round unanimous decision. And also Jeff Fafori gave him a good workout at over 10, although Cameron did win most of those rounds. So if you think about it, this was his 8th fight. And he's got 4 stoppages now, but he's faced some good men in only those, 8 fights. And he's only 22 years old. So I think there's a lot to admire here. Now, Jordan Flynn is older. He's 28. He's only got 1 stoppage in the wins column. And I always think when you've got a guy who's essentially a come forward, like a slugger, a tough guy who wants to really get in your face and swap punches, if you haven't got a big punch, it's always going to be a little bit precarious. And such it proved in this fight because, I mean, to start with, Flynn was definitely throwing more punches. There was actually a similarity between this fight and the one between Mark Dickinson and Reece Farnell that was on previously, or prior to this fight, in that you had one guy who didn't have a big punch, but was a come-forward guy, was going to get in your face, was going to outwork you, land huge amounts of punches, huge volumes of punches. And the other guy who was slick, a lot slicker, a lot more well-schooled, probably, in short, a lot more talented, who was going to take a few rounds to get his engine running and then was probably going to take over in the second half of the fight. That's pretty much how this went. Because for 5 rounds, Flynn was very competitive because of his output, his industry. In the 3rd round, he got clipped by a right hand. I think it was a right hand. And he sort of fell forward. His gloves touched the canvas. And so the referee called it I think it was Howard Foster was the referee, our friend Howard. He called it a knockdown. But he wasn't hurt at all, Flynn, not remotely, and he kind of protested. He called it a knockdown. Well, his gloves touched the canvas, so technically it was. But it's one of those incidents where you think, is that really a 10-8 round? Can't we just stick with a 10-9? You're entitled to do that if you're a judge, of course. But it wasn't until the 6th round when Vuong really did hurt Flynn. And considering he's only 22 and Flynn is 28, I suppose you would expect, the man strength to be with Flynn. And there's no doubt Vuong won't finish his career at this weight. This is lightweights we're talking about. He'll move up once he fills out a bit, probably end up as a welterweight. But he didn't look like he was being in any shape or form bullied by Flynn in terms of physical strength. And he was able in the 6th round to really, just through pure technique, to sting Flynn. And Flynn sort of did a little stutter step by the ropes. His legs sort of betrayed him. He didn't come close to falling over. He was by the ropes. And then he tried to spin off the ropes. And Vuong couldn't quite land too much that was meaty to sort of finish him off. And it was towards the end of the round. So, you thought, well, now it's time for Flynn to regroup. But I don't think his legs had really recovered by the 7th. He got chased. When I say chased, it's not like Vuong tore after him, but he was walking him down and letting his hands go far more. One of the commentators said that Vuong looks like a different fighter when he's letting his hands go. And I kind of know what he means by that. Because Vuong, with all those skills and with that natural talent, he will, when he's got his rhythm, when the punches are flowing, he looks really stylish, really, really good. and he picks his punches very well, and there's a good variety of punch. There's nothing wasted. There's no sort of what I would call fat on his performance. Do you know what I mean? Everything looks educated. But there are periods, and we saw this certainly in the first 3-4 rounds, where he's just too inactive, and perhaps he needs to keep his hands moving a bit more, a bit quicker in fights. This was only a 10-rounder, of course, but I think it's time to see Mr. Vuong. Now he's had 8 fights, and he's done 10 rounds twice already. I mean, I'd give him a 12-rounder. Maybe go for the real EBU title, or another couple of 10s maybe, just to sort of prove that he can do the 10. But certainly in the 7th round, his technique stunned Flynn quite considerably. Flynn retreated back to the ropes. Vuong moved forward, looking for his moments, picking his spots. Big right came in. That shook Flynn. Flynn tried to sort of skid off onto the adjacent ropes. Vuong repositioned his feet, let his punches go. There was one big right hand that landed on the temple. All credit to Flynn. He didn't go on the floor. He was game to the end. But Howard Foster jumped in and stopped the fight. No complaints. It was a legitimate stoppage. So well done to Jordan Flynn. All 22 years of him. God, to be 22 again and have the world at your feet like that, it must be a nice feeling. And for Jordan Flynn, that was his first defeat. No shame in it. He can come back. I think he could probably win a British title he's 28 now. Maybe why not regroup, go for the English maybe, build your way up again. But for Cameron Vuong, I think we'll see. If he continues living the life and there isn't some sort of hidden chink in the armour, like say a China chin, for example, then I think we might well see him at world level sooner rather than later, competing well. And he's got this WBO ranking now, so we'll see. But yeah, not a bad fight at all. Good fight. Let us know what you thought, if you watched it. If not, go and have a look. It's on DAZN. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments, as I always do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And of course, spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now.